Hello, I'm Yinka Etade. Welcome to Eye on Africa here on France 24. Coming up, a court in Algiers upholds French-Algerian author Boualem Sansal's 5-year prison sentence, rejecting a push from prosecutors to double it. French Prime Minister François Bayrou is calling for the writer to be given a full pardon after being convicted for undermining national unity. Police in Ghana rescue 76 people trafficked to Nigeria under a fake recruitment scam, promised football contracts and jobs. Victims had their documents seized and were forced to extort $1,000 from their families. And a new wave of cinema is emerging in Benin. We'll tell you about a one-of-a-kind school that's creating a new space for the country's talent to thrive, training the next generation of filmmakers under a rigorous curriculum. It's great to have you with us. We're going to start the program with an update on the case of Boualem Sansal. A court in Algiers has upheld the French-Algerian author's 5-year prison sentence, rejecting a push from prosecutors to double it. The ruling comes nearly 3 months after Sansal was originally sentenced for undermining national unity. His case has deepened a diplomatic rift with France. The Prime Minister, François Bayrou, has vowed that the country will continue fighting for Sansal's freedom. Take a listen.
Maintenant qu'il y a eu condamnation, on peut imaginer.
Now that the sentence has been handed down, we can imagine pardon measures, particularly in view of our compatriots' health, will be taken.
La santé de notre compatriote soit prise. Toutes les instances
All executive powers, from the president to the government, are working towards this, towards humanity winning in a case that is, for the French people, unbearable.
Qui est pour les Français insupportable.
Well, Boualem Sansal's sentence is widely seen here in France as undermining freedom of expression. Solange Moujin takes a look now at the fiction writer's career and his views.
Boualem Sansal came relatively late to life as a novelist. Now 80, he was 49 when his debut work of fiction was published. Before then, he'd been a teacher and a civil servant, living, he said, quietly and out of the spotlight. His first book, Le Serment des Barbares, The Barbarian Oath, is a narrative of Algeria during the civil war in the 1990s. And in this prize-winning work, Sansal did not hesitate to take aim at the highest political figures of Algeria, including sitting and former presidents.
In Algeria, my books were censored because they were full frontal attacks on power. I named names. I didn't use any aliases. I named them, Mr. Bouteflika, Mr. Boumediene, and so on. And I treated Islamism the same way. So, of course, I made a lot of enemies.
An atheist, Sansal has regularly written and spoken out against religious extremism. One of his works is set in a dystopian world taken over by Islamism. Sansal has warned of growing Islamization in France, a position that's endeared him to some French far-right leaders. His pro-Israeli stances have also caused outrage among some in Algeria. Sansal himself says he's a reluctant dissident, and he says he's been blackballed in his country of origin.
Socially, I don't exist in Algeria. I'm not invited anywhere.
Granted French citizenship in 2024, in a ceremony presided over by President Emmanuel Macron himself, Sansal was detained in the Algiers airport that November and then sentenced this past March to 5 years in prison on charges of undermining Algeria's territorial integrity. This following the writer's remarks about land transfers during France's colonial rule. That sentence was upheld by an appeals court. His case, pegged the Sansal affair, has become a cause célèbre in France, as well as an element of a larger diplomatic rift between France and Algeria, with Emmanuel Macron continuing to appeal for mercy and humanity for the imprisoned Franco-Algerian writer.
We're turning to Mali now. Hours after the military reported a wave of attacks on posts across 7 towns in central and western regions, Al-Qaeda's affiliate, Jama'at Nusrat al-Islam wa Muslim, has claimed responsibility. Taken to social media, Janim declared it seized complete control of 3 barracks and dozens of military positions through coordinated attacks. The latest assault underscores Mali's ongoing struggle. The country has faced relentless violence for over a decade from insurgents linked to Al-Qaeda and ISIS. Next, police in Ghana say they've rescued 76 people who were trafficked to Nigeria as part of a fake recruitment scheme. The group, mostly young men, had been promised football contracts, overseas jobs, or visa help upon their arrival in Nigeria. The documents and phones were also confiscated. Held in cramped, harsh conditions, the victims were forced to call their families and demand around $1,000, supposedly for training fees. Our correspondent, Justice Baidu, now reports from Accra.
According to the Ghana Police Service, these victims were lured with contracts into elite football teams in Europe, jobs in overseas countries, and visa assistance. Once they arrived in Nigeria, they were then forced into overcrowded hotel rooms and asked to call their family members back in Ghana to send them monies ranging up to about $1,000 to be used for training and facilitation. This scheme also involved the perpetrators going through their phones to search for contacts of their friends and loved ones, who they then asked to send them monies for their release. The head of Ghana's Criminal Investigations Department, Yako Donko, told journalists in Accra that 7 persons have now been arrested in connection with this particular crime.
Victims are typically instructed to travel, usually by road, to an unfamiliar country. Ghanaians are sent to foreign countries while foreigners are brought to Ghana. Upon arrival, a syndicate member meets them and lodges them in a hotel, demanding an initial training and facilitation fee ranging from 800,000 to 2 million CFA for Francophone victims, or $1,000 and above for Ghanaians.
The police says there's been a sharp rise in the number of persons that have been reported by Interpol as having been missing through the activities of QNet within the West African sub-region. Human rights campaigners have blamed the situation on the lack of jobs for many young people in countries like Ghana. Ghana's government says it is increasing awareness to prevent other young people from falling for the scam.
The second largest party in South Africa's government has filed charges against the Higher Education Minister, accusing her of lying to Parliament. The Democratic Alliance claims Nambule Nkambane lied to cover up the fraudulent appointment of ANC-linked figures to education authority boards. Meanwhile, a criminal corruption probe is reportedly underway against another ANC minister, deepening the ruling party's troubles. It lost its majority last year due to voter disillusionment with corruption and mismanagement. France 24's Tom Canetti has more now from Cape Town.
Well, it's in this police station behind me where the latest episode in this debacle between the ANC and the DA took place on Tuesday morning, when the Democratic Alliance, the second biggest party in the government of national unity, laid criminal charges against the Minister for Higher Education, Nkambane. Those charges are for misleading Parliament about the appointment of certain associates of hers, which the DA says was unlawful. But in reality, it's a retaliation against President Cyril Ramaphosa firing a deputy DA minister last week, Andrew Whitfield, for an unauthorized trip to the US, which took place during a period of time where tensions between Washington and Pretoria were at their highest. Whitfield did not get permission from the president for going on that trip, but the DA says that Ramaphosa overstepped by firing him, and therefore they're taking these measures and taking their own sort of actions against ministers from the ANC, the biggest party in the GNU, who they say are acting unlawfully. Now, certain members of the DA asked to leave the GNU, but John Steenhuisen, the leader of the Democratic Alliance, said that they will remain. However, there will be consequences for Whitfield's dismissal. One of those we've seen today.
In Benin, a new wave of cinema is emergent. Sedo Susu, a US-trained actor in his 30s, is determined to build a vibrant, ambitious local film industry from the ground up. He has founded a one-of-a-kind school that trains young filmmakers with a rigorous curriculum inspired by international standards, something rare in a country where formal training options are scarce. His philosophy, he says, is instead of waiting for opportunities within the global industry, focus on creating a new space for Benin's talents to thrive. Celine Barr and our team on the ground have more.
Sedo Tosu, a filmmaker trained at the prestigious New York Film Academy in Los Angeles, returned to Benin in 2020 with a vision to reshape the local cinema landscape.
We made a first series and it was a success. People are still talking about it. I needed that success to find the strength to create here again in Benin.
His show, Allocan, about the lives of young call center agents, has become a stepping stone for new actors, among them Camille, Jacques, and Lorella Volpi, who was recently discovered by a Parisian agency.
It still feels like a dream or an illusion. I'm so happy. If he hadn't helped me grow and improve my acting, I wouldn't be here.
Sedo Tosu also founded a film school in Cotonou that has welcomed around 100 students so far. The program focuses on acting, professionalism, career planning, and international networking.
For me, it's about talent. My actors aren't famous, but the show might get them there, as well as further opportunities elsewhere in the world. I really hope so.
With Sedo Plus, filmmaker Sedo Tosu offers a streaming service that helps talent gain global exposure and share in profits.
The main actors will receive a percentage of how successful the series will be.
Sedo Tosu refuses to imitate Nollywood. Instead, the founder hopes to create high-quality shows rooted in Benin's daily life.
I prefer to focus on uniqueness. If I meet a French, American or Japanese person tomorrow, they might not necessarily be into Nollywood. I want them to be into Sedo Plus.
He's already helping students expand their horizons beyond Benin. One of them, Chiamaka, is now studying at the New York Film Academy in Los Angeles. Through his productions and his school, Tosu is now part of a new wave of ambitious African filmmakers, a generation determined to make an impact across the world.
Well, that's it from all of us on the Eye on Africa team. Thanks so much for your company, and do stay with us here on France 24.